Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Monday Musings, Danny's SportsWrap, and I hope you're having a great Memorial weekend. Maybe not to the extent that some of the folks down in the Lake of the Ozarks are, but that's a discussion for another day. Why don't we kind of keep it to sports this time around and leave what some would see as politics out of it, even though I guess it's more of a health issue, but I don't want to be contentious this weekend, so let's just talk about sports. And somehow the NFL was not even close to the top story this weekend, which is remarkable in and of itself, as the NFL, which is sort of on a regular schedule, has kind of dominated things. You're never going to watch a sports center or a sports show and not hear about the NFL. But as far as NFL news was concerned, it did take a back seat, except for the fact that two of its more famous quarterbacks, one retired, one still active, were taking part in the golf match yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. Only the weather was the thing that didn't cooperate, but on many, many other levels it did work. And most of the news generated outside of that sort of lark, which raised a tremendous $20 million for charity, are the drips and drabs of information coming out about the possibility of restarting some of our major sports, and a lot of details are coming out, and we'll visit on that as well, as it seems like the month of July might be pretty darn active as starting to get things rolling as far as sports are concerned, although we will be consuming it exclusively on television. There's a few other notes and quotes and a couple of funny stories as well. Let's do it on this Memorial Day. I hope you're good, and if you get rained out of an activity, here's some entertainment for you. If not, it'll remain evergreen over the next couple of days, and I'll be back with all of it right after this.
Hi, this is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you, Kansas City, for supporting all the local restaurants during this time of crisis. Starting Monday, June 1st, the 23rd Street Brewery will be open our regular hours from 11 o'clock a.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. every day of the week. For dine-in and patio service, if you can believe that, we're open. During this phase, we will adhere to the Douglas County recommendations for restaurants, and please see our website or our Facebook page for details. Most importantly, we want all of our guests and staff to stay safe, and together, we will all get through this.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
My friends at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture are among the most accomplished and trusted clinics in the nation. Only one clinic has been rated in the top 5 in all 3 categories of chiropractic care, acupuncture, and rehabilitation, and that clinic is ASFCA. They have locations in Olathe, Overland Park, Prairie Village, Belton, and Lee Summit. Doctors Brad and Christina Woodle and their accomplished team of doctors and therapists will treat you like family, for the simplest of injuries to the most complicated conditions to avoid surgery. Whether you are seeking treatment for an injury or just looking to stay healthy and fit, this is the place for you. And it's been the place for me for almost 2 years now. I've been a strenuous daily exerciser for years, and as time goes on, that takes its toll. But regular appointments at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture have helped keep me ticking on, and even as the years pile up, their regular care has allowed me to keep to my regimen and feel great. If you want to feel the same, give them a call or visit them at asfca.com/Danny. They accept all insurances and are open Monday through Saturday, and make sure to mention that Danny Clinkscale recommended Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back, and probably more people by far than usual were paying attention to a four-man golf match, which included two amateurs. And whenever Tiger Woods is involved with something and there's not a tremendous amount of sports entertainment, you're going to get a lot of eyeballs on something, and that's what the case was for the match. Phil Mickelson against Tiger Woods, the second one, first one back in 2018, which featured some not-so-remarkable golf, but a victory by Phil Mickelson. And this time around, a far more prepared, organized, really lavish production as far as the match was concerned. It's really a good thing that last week's match of the four tour pros took place first and this one was second, because if it was in the reverse order, it would have been embarrassing, the kind of production values that they used last week. We had personalized, motorized carts that had all kinds of technical doodads in them, cameras, microphones, everything else. All the players were mic'd. You could see them, close-ups while they were driving their carts. Only Tom Brady's equipment seemed to malfunction a little bit early, but his golf was malfunctioning early as well, so that was probably a good thing, and he didn't seem much in the mood for talking at that point in time. Let's go through the players sort of one by one and how it went in a match that eventually would be won by Tiger and Peyton Manning, one up. Remarkable that actually it was only one up, and kind of shows the vagaries of match play and the rather remarkable renaissance of Tom Brady during the course of one golf match. Certainly the best golf was played by Tiger Woods. He hit every single fairway at Medalist. He was very sharp. He was engaged. He was fun. Certainly he and Peyton Manning were the two most fun people on the golf course. Phil Mickelson, too, in his own know-it-all way, but Tiger looked really ready to return to competitive golf. The last we had seen him, he had shot a 77 at Riviera and finished dead last among those who made the cut, and then he withdrew from 3 straight tournaments that he had planned to play with a bad back, so things were not looking good when the stoppage came. So perhaps it was a good thing for Tiger, who really looked good, dialed in, and had himself some great iron play, and if he and Phil had made a few more, he and Peyton rather, had made a few more putts, they probably would have won the thing easily. But Tiger certainly looked sharp and ready for fans to be able to root him on when real golf returns in a couple of weeks as well. He is expected to play in the first tournament when they return at Colonial. Well, Peyton Manning was more than solid. He looked every bit a 4 or 5 handicapper, made a birdie early on, generally was solid, hit a couple of stray ones early in the match, but certainly was a good and worthy partner for Tiger Woods, and contributed as well for the entertainment value. Lots of good stories. Admitted afterwards he was very, very nervous in the company of Tiger Woods, out of his comfort zone, but it really didn't show in the way he played. He clearly has a better golf game than Tom Brady. We'll get to that in a minute, but he's been retired for almost 5 years, and so he plays a lot of golf and clearly gets a lot of good instruction. He's played a lot of golf with Tiger Woods. They seem to have a little system down as far as the putts were concerned. 100% was like a regular old putt, and then if it was 75, that meant hit it easier. If it was 105, hit it a little harder. Peyton wanted numbers. He got them from Phil, and so that was entertaining also. And those two were just a good, fun team, and really added to the entertainment value as well of the whole thing. Phil carried the day for his team. I mean, they would have been dead if he hadn't been playing really well early, basically was playing by himself. Tom Brady probably was anywhere from, in the first 5 holes, 12 to 15 over par maybe. He hit the ball out of play, I think, 3 or 4 times. Penalty shots left and right. Mark Russell, the PGA Tour official, was very busy with him, but they didn't get down by more than 3 down in the match, and then when Tom Brady found something, he allowed them to bounce back in the match, and what he found was when it looked like he might not even make anywhere near a par on the front, He was challenged by Charles Barkley, who and Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka bet $100,000 he wouldn't make a par. Then Charles Barkley on a hole challenged him as well. Was really ribbing him, and at that point in time, Brady uncorked a perfect wedge shot that spun back into the hole, not just a fluky shot, a great shot, and that certainly seemed to loosen him up. They ended up just tying that hole, but went on to start playing much better golf. There still was a couple of shaky moments, and he probably shot somewhere around 100, I would think, but it was probably more like 60 on the front and 40 on the back. But it looked like if he played more golf, he'd get a little better. He supposedly is a very good putter, and he probably needs to be at this point in time. His golf swing certainly didn't stack up to the other players. Well, I'm not going to try to compare an amateur to two pros, but Peyton clearly was somebody with more game than Tom Brady. But I didn't do any tweeting during the course of the match, but if I had, I would have probably looked pretty good, but it sounds easy for me to say now. As Brady was just slapping it all over the course, I just found myself thinking that he somehow would get it together, that he would have the mental toughness to do so. Anybody who's played golf knows that when it's going that bad and you're not really a great golfer, even if you're a pretty good one, and you're in that kind of company, getting it back to some kind of form of decent play is a really, really difficult thing, and I think that sort of the heart of a champion showed in Tom Brady, that he settled down, played solidly on the back nine, hit a couple of really good shots, and of course made the highlight shot of the day, but that was sort of the thing that kick-started him into at least reasonable golf, and it made it much more entertaining. The only thing that the players really were doing a great job of persevering through some really bad conditions. The rain stopped early, but it pretty much rained off and on the whole day, sometimes very, very hard. And the only saving grace, of course, it was Florida. It was warm, so it looked chilly on TV, but it was not. So the warmth of the day held forth, and in the end, it was just a remarkably entertaining day, I think, for people who really like golf and for people who don't even care that much about golf, but they care about the entertainment. And, of course, you had Charles Barkley on commentary, and he was his usual entertaining self. And, he's such a bad golfer that he can make fun of himself in those regards. And then he had to do a challenge after the round, or actually they did it during the round because they were going to run out of time. But he was challenged to make bogey or better. He didn't. He missed a putt, double bogey, but he looked a little bit better than he usually does playing golf for that matter. But as far as the broadcast is concerned, he was a real positive. The call-ins were good from people from outside the golf world and inside the golf world. Alex Rodriguez and others called in, usually making some kind of challenge or committing some kind of amount of money. There were entertaining tweets also, and there was just a lot of good byplay and things like that. So that added to the whole thing. And as I mentioned in the Open, they would end up raising more, or just shy of $20 million, and then they rounded it up to $20 million for the check presentation. And obviously just really a fun day, and they got extra time out of it because they had to wait, over an hour before they started playing. So they had more time to raise money and more viewership, more length of the broadcast. They barely got it in before darkness. Also, usually if you have a new golfer who is trying to be a commentator, he either won't say anything at all or he's nervous or whatever, and Justin Thomas was a natural. He studied communications at the University of Alabama. It seemed like he actually took that seriously because he looked good on camera, didn't show any signs of nerves, was willing to rib with the players, throw some jokes around, and provide good analysis as well. So that was another good aspect, and Justin Thomas is going to play golf for a long, long time, but if ever he wanted to be an on-course reporter or a broadcaster, it looks like he really, really could do it. So but he wants to get back to his day job, which is to play golf, and that will come for us in the third week of June. And that will be, of course, in front of no fans, but it will be good to see real competition, lots on the line, and multiple groups and golf shots that provide golf entertainment. And probably millions of people who were watching yesterday will not be watching when they're playing real golf and real competition, but still it was a good day for golf, it was a good day for funding relief, and it was a good day just to put a smile on your face on a Memorial Day weekend where some of our days were wildly disrupted by the weather. I live in Shawnee, Kansas, and actually the forecast just twisted and turned through the day. We ended up not getting any rain at all. We had a little grilling session planned with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. At about 2 o'clock, that certainly looked like it was out the window. Predictions on the hourly of 100% ended up not raining at all and dissipating to the point where we knew we were going to be able to do it. Social distancing on our back deck. All of the other 3 people in our group are very sensitive to the structures and things that you're supposed to do for social distancing, and so we did abide by that. They just walked around through the gate and never entered our house, and so it was all done in that proper way, but it was fun, and I know that a lot of people to the east and the west of where I reside got hit much harder by the rain, so I hope you got some activities in and had yourself a good day before the official Memorial Day. And also the weekend did feature a lot of news about the sports that are returning, what their plans are, what their ideas are for their return to play. And as we see leagues like the Bundesliga successfully so far in Korean baseball without disruption play, there's more and more positivity that in a structure with a lot of testing and a lot of restrictions and being careful and no fans, that we should be able to return to sports. We haven't really had setbacks as of yet. We'll see if that happens, and we'll visit in on some of the plans for these leagues coming up next as we roll on this holiday, and glad to have you with us.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
Hi, this is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you, Kansas City, for supporting all the local restaurants during this time of crisis. Starting Thursday, May 21st, the 23rd Street Brewery will be open from 11 to 9 for carry-out and delivery service and 4 to 9 for dine-in and patio service, if you can believe that. We're open. During this phase, we will adhere to the Douglas County recommendations for restaurants, and please see our website or our Facebook page for details. Most importantly, we want all of our guests and staff to stay safe, and together we will all get through this.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Visions' goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. We're visiting with Larry Marshall, former Chiefs defensive back and punt returner and now a Chiefs ambassador. Larry is a former pro football player with the aches and pains that come with that, and moving on in age as we all are. What do the Canaway CBD products do for you?
It's been a great relief for me. Being a punt and kickoff returner, collisions were a mainstay of my career, and these Canaway products, the salve especially, has really helped me try to get through every day with the aches and pains that I've had over a career of 7+ years in the NFL.
I get similar benefits as well, particularly with my back. Certainly wasn't a football player. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information about the great products themselves?
Well, I'm so enthused about it, Dana. If they just contact me at larrymarshall.canaway.com, and I can give them all the information they need to help them get through the day as well.
Start gaining all the benefits that Larry and I do from the trusted and reliable line of Canaway products. As Larry said, visit larrymarshall.canaway.com and get information on all the great products from Canaway. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back to Monday Musings, Danny Sports Wrap, and let's tick off some of the sports and where they are at right now. And let's start with Major League Baseball. They don't actually have a full proposal yet as to what they're going to do as far as competition is concerned. It seems more and more that like they are going to play the games in their stadiums with no fans, but the biggest hurdle remaining is probably not the safety issues. The proposal was greeted generally in that regard with mostly positives from the Players Association. There are some concerns. I'm not going to be surprised at all if there are some players who just aren't going to play, period, and just say it's not worth it to me. I have family concerns. I have health concerns of my own. For a half a season, I'm not going to do it. Those probably in many cases would be more veteran players who'd made quite a bit of money in their careers. But the real big day comes Tuesday, tomorrow, when the financial proposal comes from the major league owners, and they probably, maybe, hopefully not, will run out their 50-50 proposal again. I hope they have gotten enough feedback from the public and the players that they're not going to try that. The players already agreed to a pay cut, and ratio of games played is what they will be paid. They agreed to that. I think the owners pretty well ought to bite the bullet and pretty much stick with that. I think they'll probably try to fight for a few millions here or there, but I think it would be in their best interest to get baseball rolling and playing, and also maybe set the stage for, if you get into a fight about this, just think what the CBA type of talks are going to have in a couple of years. I know Buster Olney has an idea that this should be sort of rolled into one thing and get the process done. That would be a great idea. I kind of doubt that can happen right now, but you don't want to have a contentious battle right now over money when 2 years down the road you got to visit all these issues again. Or you're just going to ramp up the animosity between the two sides. That doesn't make any sense to me. But we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how this trial balloon on Tuesday is greeted by the media, the fans, the players. I'm sure it's going to be leaked. The owners have leaked just about everything so far, and they basically are using these as litmus tests for what people are feeling, and they're gauging the temperature of things as they do it, and we'll see how that plays out on Tuesday. Over the weekend, the NBA's Orlando plan came to the forefront, which looks like it's going to be all the games played at Disney World. Adam Silver pictured with Mickey Mouse, and whether it's going to be 24 teams selected and then a short period of sort of round-robin play to set playoff seeding and things like that, or it seems more and more, as from yesterday to today, that they may just go with a straight 16 playoff teams, and that's it. That would be easier logistically. It would be less expensive. It would be safer. There's talk of just seeding all the teams 1 through 16. Now that after the 8 from the West and the 8 from the East are in, details are probably going to move pretty quickly, I think, in the NBA, because the two sides there have a very cooperative type of atmosphere, and they get along probably as well as maybe any sports league has ever gotten along between ownership and players. That's a credit to Adam Silver. It's a credit to David Stern before him. It's also a credit to the players, and it's a credit to common sense that people realize that everybody is doing well and making money and in most cases getting rich, and so why upset the apple cart? And also the NBA, to their credit, has been much more in the forefront of not being as draconian as far as marijuana testing and things like that is concerned, with a young generation that generally has embraced a return to weed, as it were, that made sense. And the other leagues have fought that, and college athletics has fought it, and all kinds of suspensions come down. That's not been the case in the NBA, and that issue alone has probably been one of the things that has led to a more convivial atmosphere as far as the sides are concerned. So it looks like towards the end of July we will have playoff basketball in the NBA, and likely, again, no fans in that regard, but at the one location. The NHL looks like they may be going with a 24-team plan in a couple of locations. Their details are not as far along. It seems to me as if hockey players, who generally are a more sensible bunch than most professional athletes and don't make quite as much money, will probably want to play some hockey before this year is concerned. So that seems to be progressing along as well. And Gary Bettman and the owners certainly don't want to see a situation which is the most recent in professional sports, where we saw a shutdown of a league for an extended period of time. They lost a season as well. So the NHL seems on course also. In soccer, we see the German soccer that's being played consumed at a high rate as far as Kansas City is concerned, the top market for watching Bundesliga soccer. La Liga, the Spanish league, is going to start in early June. The 7th, I believe, is the date they're setting now. But as far as the league around the world that is watched the most, that is their Premier League in England, and they had set a date of June 12th to return for their play. That seems, as of today, and reports coming out today, that date may be a little bit ambitious, that they may be looking perhaps at a week or so later, or maybe even a couple of weeks. They are doing a conference call today, I believe, over in England, or maybe it's tomorrow, which would be late night tonight, to talk about the situation, get an idea of when they want to return to play. But again, no specifics there, although it does seem like they're going to use their own stadiums for the most part, with no fans, of course. And we'll see if that television aspect, said it before, the game of soccer is the one, to me, that has maybe affected the most by not having fans in the stands, just because of the general colorful atmosphere of the way fans are at these places. We generally watch things like the Premier League before packed stadiums with people waving flags and singing. And when you see empty stands, it's a lot different. The NASCAR race yesterday before an empty stadium, that to me is the least affected. Said it last week, that cars whizzing around making a lot of noise. You almost don't notice that the stands are empty, but certainly you do in soccer. And in the college ranks, we continue to see widely varying reports, and the most significant probably of the weekend was the University of Michigan president, Mark Schlissel, who is an immunologist, actually Dr. Mark Schlissel, and he made clear that as far as he is concerned, unless students return physically to the campus at the University of Michigan for fall classes, he does not want to have football in that atmosphere. And also, he said something that was kind of against the grain of what most people say. The University of Michigan is a monstrous university. There's like 40,000 students there just on a regular basis, maybe more than that. I may be underestimating that. It's a massive campus. My wife went to school there, so I've been there a couple of times, and what he said was that, hey, we are $1 billion plus enterprise. We have tremendous amounts of donations to our university, and football only makes up $185 million of that. And so we can go on without football. We don't need football. Our university will take along without football, and this is one of the most prestigious programs in the country. Most other places, you're hearing that, oh, this will be a disaster. We can't survive it. Now, Michigan certainly is probably a wealthier university than many, but a important, prestigious, powerful program that has a president saying that we are not going to play football unless students are on campus is different than many people are saying, and this probably will carry some weight. So a lot of complications still, although the SEC is going forward. But when you see a program like this and the president making these comments, it certainly adds to the debate. College football has a little bit of time, but not all the time in the world to make these kind of decisions, and we'll see where we're at as people slowly return to training in small groups, trying to get physically ready to play football, see how it plays out. And finally, kind of a fun story on a couple of levels. Nobody's favorite in Kansas City, Noah Syndergaard, is recovering from Tommy John surgery. And over the weekend, he was hit with a lawsuit. And according to ESPN, according to the federal lawsuit, Syndergaard is being sued for at least $250,000 for breach of contract and fees. he never took over a 3-bedroom penthouse in Manhattan that costs, this is part of the fun part of the story to me, $27,000 per month. After the Major League Baseball season was put on hiatus because of the coronavirus pandemic. I think he lives in Los Angeles part of the time. Now he's in Florida. But obviously during the season, he wants to have a nice digs. $27,000 a month really carries the weight a little bit. But he is not happy, and I think he probably has a right not to be. And he gave his side of the situation in a tweet Saturday night. So let me get this straight. I fairly and in good faith offered to pay 2 months' rent, over $50,000, to a landlord for a place I was never going to step foot in due to a global pandemic that took a severe toll upon the residents of New York City, gave timely notice to attempt to try and re-rent while getting Tommy John and now living in Florida for rehab, and the landlord tries to extort me for $250K while leaking this story to the media, and I'm the bad guy? Yeah, okay. See you in court, pal. Well, sounds to me like Noah Syndergaard, in a common sense way, has a point. And the lawsuit seems to me to be maybe not spurious on a legal standpoint, but certainly a bad look. I'm not so sure I'd want to make this public when you're trying to basically get rent for something that you didn't even, you've got time to re-rent that property. My daughter lives in New York, and she has to find 2 new roommates, and she doesn't think it's going to be any problem whatsoever in doing so. To me, they got $50,000. They got 2 months leeway to find somebody to get in there, and these two sides should just, I think, first of all, the lawsuit, they ought to let it die, but given that, maybe cooler heads should just prevail. But I guess my favorite part of the story is that it would be nice to be a Major League Baseball player and get yourself a nice little pad that costs a mere $27,000 per month. Most of us have more pressing things to deal with these days, but we also get the release of seeing some things like the golf on Sunday and maybe some sports to come, and we're all looking forward to that. Happy Memorial Day. Remember the reason why we have this Memorial Day as well. All the people who have given their lives through the years in the service of our country. I think that's lost sometimes in the barbecues and the pool parties and everything else. Let's not forget that, and let's look forward to trying to wean our way back towards normalcy in a safe and responsible way. And I will talk to you often as I do, and next Monday again with Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like the law offices of Kenneth McRae, developing a unique strategy for your family law case. Divorce can be civil law, not civil war.